Every great leader is a great storyteller. And the first and most important part of being a great storyteller is knowing what stories to tell. Ironically, journalists and publishers are typically interested in producing content on how to craft leadership stories. The structure of the story, the emotional elements, the right level of detail, how long they should be, etc. But when I work with executives, actual leaders working in organizations, those aren't the first questions they ask. The first question they typically ask is, what stories do I need to tell? The reason I side with the executives on what's of foremost importance is that if you tell the right story, but butcher the delivery, your audience will forgive you. You're not a novelist or a professional speaker. You're a leader. But if you tell your people a boring, irrelevant story, even if you deliver it in a way that would make a Shakespearean actor proud, your audience will never forgive you for wasting their time. What stories you tell is more important than how you tell them. Will you be more effective as a leader if you learn how to craft more compelling stories? Of course. And I spend most of my professional time teaching leaders how to do exactly that. But the best leaders start by choosing the right stories to tell. So, my purpose in writing this book is to give leaders of any size or type of organization 10 of the most important stories they need to tell, plus a running start at how to find their own. But before we get to the stories, let me address 3 brief topics about the list. First, notice that the title of this book isn't the 10 speeches great leaders make, or 10 presentations great leaders give, or even 10 ideas great leaders share. It's the 10 stories great leaders tell. And by story, I don't mean just a list of the talking points or the message track an executive should have for each topic. I literally mean a narrative about something that happened to someone. As such, it will include a time, a place, and a main character. That main character will have a goal, and there will probably be an obstacle getting in the way of that goal, a villain, if you will. And there will be events that transpire along the way that hopefully resolve themselves in the end. In other words, this isn't just a list of 10 topics leaders need to have an articulated opinion on, although they certainly should. It's a list of actual stories they need to tell. Second, why is it important that these ideas be addressed in the form of stories and not just a set of slides or bullet points in a memo? Now, of course, you should have a clear outline set of ideas for each of these 10 topics. And if you're a good leader, you already do. But my purpose in helping you develop stories for these topics is that stories are uniquely effective at helping leaders get ideas across in a way that will move people to action. Volumes have been written on why storytelling is so effective, but I'll summarize my top 6 reasons here. Stories are 1. Aids to decision making. Research tells us that human beings typically make subconscious, emotional, often irrational decisions in one place in their brain, and then rationalize those decisions after the fact in a conscious, logical part of the brain. Facts, data, and arguments only appeal to the rational part of the brain. Stories connect with both. 2. Timeless. Storytelling is the oldest form of communication known to man. We've been telling stories since we've been drawing pictures on cave walls. It's not a leadership fad that will ever go out of practice. 3. Demographic proof. Working with hundreds of companies in dozens of countries around the world, I've yet to meet a demographic profile of people who are immune to the effects of a great story. 4. More memorable. Studies have shown that facts are more likely to be remembered if they're embedded in a story than if they're just given to people in a list. And you can prove that to yourself while listening to this book. By the time you've finished the 2nd chapter, you know that you'll have probably forgotten this list of 6 reasons storytelling works. But once you've listened to the stories in each chapter, you'll know just as firmly that you won't soon forget any of them.